complex, okay? So what I want to do now is I'll go back into my history, and I'm just going to go ahead and pretty much just remove, pretty much restore, go back, and pretty much just remove much of the changes that I made, okay? Much of the changes that I made. Now, what's really going to be helpful with showing fall is, this is what I find helpful, is deleting some of the foliage and then have some of the foliage still remaining. Because what's going to make fall interesting is a transition, right? Where you have some full foliage, some foliage missing with a bunch of leaves on the ground. Some foliage might be orange and yellow. Others might still have some of its color and still be green, right? So what makes autumn or fall a really, really interesting season is it's showing the transition, okay? So what I'll do is I'm going to have some of these bushes be different colors. Like maybe I'll have a couple of these be this different color. I'll go over to you and then try to find that nice orange color. I can desaturate it, or I can bring it up if I wanted to give it that bright orange color. And I can even change like the saturation and brightness. So maybe I want one of them to be a bit brighter like this, and I'll have one be a little bit darker like that. And then maybe we'll have this one be a little bit more on the yellowish side. So I'll push that, make that yellow. Let's take this one and kind of desaturate it a little bit to make it look like it's dying. And then I'll also remove a couple. Let's move that one, move that one, move that. There we go. So we want to show a little bit of foliage here. Let's remove this one as well. There we go. That looks good. I like that. That's helpful. Let's also go in here and let's just remove a couple. Let's remove this one. Let's maybe change the color of these two. Let's change it to maybe this color here. Let's bring the saturation up, make that a little bit brighter. Let's make this one a little bit darker. There we go. Let's push this one over to here and maybe change the hue just a little bit. Maybe we want to get more of that kind of reddish color. If you have a hard time with finding red, by the way, the trick is to simply bump up the contrast. You see what happens when the contrast is down? It's more of that pink color, but by bumping up that contrast, you start to pull out the reds. So I know that other people in the past have told me, hey, I really struggle with finding red. Find pink, then bump the contrast, and then it should become more and more red-ish color. So just a little tip, little pro tip there. I know that people kind of struggle with that, so I'll bump that contrast up so you can really see that color, okay? There we go. And I'll do the same thing over here. I'll maybe remove a couple. Let's push this one over to here. I just want to make sure to show some of the beneath here. Let's move this one over to here, and let's maybe change two of them over to the yellowish color. I think that looks good. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. You don't have to worry about coniferous trees, because coniferous trees, they may shed some needles, but they don't shed all of it like a deciduous would. So you don't have to worry about that. So and it's nice to have that in there. So now you don't have to edit every single tree when you go into that season, okay? So you'll find that particularly helpful. Okay, so next, what I'll do is I want to use some fallen tree stuff. So if I go into here, go into texture, if I type in leaves like this, you'll notice that there's green and fallen fall leaves. You're going to want both. So we'll start with this first. I'm just going to apply a generous amount just to see how big they are and how bright it is. I want to bring the brightness up just a little bit more. I really want it to pop against that ground. So let me just apply that and look at it. I think that looks good. There we go. And then wherever you see that there's a missing foliage, really lay on those fallen leaves really heavy, like right here. Really throw in those fallen leaves. Put them in here a little bit, inside of here. Put them here. Put them in the road along here. Oopsie, not that. Don't want to scale it up. Let's also add some green leaves as well. So I'll throw in some green leaves. Let's make these a bit darker. We'll bring the brightness down, make them nice and dark. That way they contrast quite a bit. There we go. That looks good. Add a little bit of fallen leaves here. There we go. That looks good. And just kind of apply these fallen leaves here and here and here. There you go. And you'll start to see that it kind of comes together this way. I'm going to move the foliage a little bit so it kind of matches. I don't need to have that contrast all the way up. Put it to here. maybe cluster the green pieces together like this. Let's cluster those. Let's cluster this green one over to here. I'm just gonna do some minor adjustments. Let's put this one over here so they're kind of in the same place. There we go. All right, cool. And so now you kind of have a little bit more of your fall season here. You can also put some leaves on the roof. You can use top layer, or you can just use a shape from the shape tool. It's really up to you if you want to do that. If I go to top, I can go ahead and just apply like maybe some green leaves up on top of here a little bit, and maybe even add some orange ones on top, just like that. There you go. So you can throw them on top of the structures as well. So you'll find that very helpful. So the real trick is just to make sure that you have those dead trees. That way you can adjust the bushes, the foliage independently from the trunks, from the tree part, the wooden part, and then you can also adjust them as you need be with the color adjustments option. So it's pretty helpful to do it that way. And in fact, I generally, what I want to be doing is that anytime you make any map, it's always nice to just make up your own foliage instead of using the tree itself, right? I find that helpful. All right, so I think this looks good. This is the majority of the things that I would be doing. You can add in some filters that would be helpful. Like I already have a red sky filter right here on right now, but if I bring it up a little bit, you can kind of bring out more of that reds color, which makes nice. So a red sky filter is really helpful when doing this. And then you can also throw in like a old paper filter and put it on layer -5, and then you can add more artifacts to the ground. All right, let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to save as a clone, and we're going to call it fall. And then we're going to go on to the next one. Where are we at for time? Ooh, we've already gone 20 minutes in. We've already done 2. It's the winter one, by the way, that's going to take the most amount of time. Winter is a bit overwhelming, so it can seem like it's going to be a lot, but I can show you some cool tricks to make it easy. One thing that's nice about winter is that you don't have to deal with foliage of trees, right? Most of the leaves have fallen off. So I can just select one bush, do that little trick, hamburger menu, select all from the set, and then just delete. And then there you go. And now I have these